guarantees. Joining us now, the senator who represents District 50, Harrison County in Mississippi, Senator Scott Delano. Thanks for coming on there, Senator.
Good morning. How are you?
We're doing just perfect here. So you guys are less than 2 weeks away. You'll be gathering up at the Capitol and making them laws again. Tell us what's on the radar for you.
Well, I'll tell you what, the last three sessions have been just packed full of really good work that we've done. I don't think that we're going to really slow down that much. There's talk always of the last year of a term being a little bit slower, but I don't foresee that. I think there's going to be a lot of things that we're going to have to address, and I think that the leadership in the state of Mississippi has been pretty adamant about addressing the issues that face the state, and I think we're going to continue to do that.
Okay. Well, what do you see as something you guys will just hop right on, if anything, specifically when you convene on January the 3rd?
Well, I do believe that the ballot initiative is going to be something that's in the forefront of everybody's mind. I know that's a big ticket issue that we didn't get addressed last year, or we didn't get it across the goal line. And that's something that I think all the membership wants to get that resolved and restore that back, restore those rights back to the citizens of the state.
Well, that's interesting. I appreciate you bringing that up, Senator. We had Senator John Polk on yesterday and discussed this matter with him. And he informed, and I got to admit, until yesterday, I was not aware of this, that the Senate actually did pass a bill, a measure, unanimously. The House, of course, passed one as well. I don't remember the vote count. But neither chamber would get on board with the others. And it seems like
that's something that's a challenge, because we do companion bills all the time, and you'll have a bill that'll be introduced in the House and a bill that'll be introduced in the Senate, and they'll go through their respective committees and then the chambers. But then at the end of the session, whichever bill is brought up, whether it's a House bill or a Senate bill, it gets confusing to the public, because they may not think that we've acted on it, but they don't see the other companion bill because it's not shown in our bill status website to really for the public to compare after the fact.
Right.
So it does get confusing.
And so I appreciate the Senator for correcting me on that, and because I have previously pretty much reported it as there was a bill in the House, it passed, it got transmitted to the Senate, didn't really get any traction in the Senate. And I was aware of the key difference and the key sticking point being the number of signatures required to qualify a measure to place on the ballot. And so I did talk about that extensively, but I was not aware the Senate actually passed a measure. So you've pointed that out as something you think needs to be addressed. I've kind of referred to it as the main piece of unfinished business, if you will, from the 22 session. Do you think that you can get something that both chambers can agree to and send it to the governor here? And again, that number of signatures being the main issue.
Yeah, I think that we will be able to get that done. That's, I think we just ran out of time at the end of the session. There were a lot of other things that were going on that got a little distracted, but got us all a little distracted. But I think this is something that, like I said, everybody that I've talked to in the legislature, both on the House and the Senate, knows that this is very important for the citizens, and it's something that needs to be addressed in earnest.
Okay, good. Glad to hear that. What about any continuation of the tax reform that occurred in 22? Might we see something additional to that? The governor's come out and said he wants to fully eliminate income tax. I sort of described the bill we got last year as kind of a down payment on total elimination of the income tax. Where do you stand on that? What do you see happening?
Well, I'm in favor of eliminating the income tax whenever we're able to do that. And last year, I know there was a lot of discussion about timing of it, but I think that we've seen a slowdown in the economy, and the Senate saw that coming as well. And we know that there's a lot of phony money that's in our economy right now, and when that starts drying up, we should expect our state coffer or our state revenues to drop as well. And I think that what we did as in the Senate was just a measured approach But if there is an opportunity to do something more, maybe we look at something where we accelerate the burn off to the 4% faster. And
Yeah.
that's something that we can look at. I know there's going to be a lot of discussion on that. That's really something that the Finance Committee and Ways and Means will look at. And the guys like me that are on appropriations will sit back and watch and take note of what they're doing and try to figure out how we're going to make our budgets work.
Yeah. So as I recall, in year one, we get rid of the 4%, and then we phase out 1% of the 5% bracket over 3 years, I believe. So total of 4 years for the whole thing to play out. Well, good. I hope there's more discussion. I, too, am concerned about what could be some tumultuous economic times. It certainly is likely to affect revenues to the state. Medicaid expansion, and just really without talking about Medicaid expansion, just the healthcare industry in general and the state of healthcare in Mississippi. Of course, Dr. Edney at the Department of Health has raised this as a serious issue. I'm sure, Senator, you've probably had discussions with hospitals, providers, et cetera. What's going on there? How are we going to get this thing turned around?
Yeah, I think that it's going to take some action in Washington to really address the healthcare issues, but I don't think anybody expects that to happen anytime soon. But for the state of Mississippi, it is a major concern. I know that there are a lot of people that are working on coming up with some better solutions, and that's what this process is all about. We need to debate these issues, find out what are the pressing, what we can do, what we cannot do, what are the strings that are attached to it, and then what can we afford to do. And I'm not saying that from just a fiscal standpoint, but we need to we need to take care of Mississippians, and there's an obvious concern there that we're leaving some things on the table, and maybe we should take a look at it. And I'm open for those discussions, but I'm a very conservative guy by nature, and I think that my constituents are for the most part as well.
Yeah, we need all the brain power we can get from a variety, a diverse set of disciplines to weigh in on this and help come up with something to kind of change the trajectory, because right now it really doesn't look good. It's kind of a national problem. It's not unique to Mississippi, as you point out. It's election year. Are you running for re-election?
Yes, sir, I am. Look forward to January the 3rd when we can go back in and go ahead and qualify.
Right. Got to file by February 1 in this cycle. We moved that up a few months, so that might change the dynamics of the legislative session, do you think?
It may a little bit, but I don't see that. We have a calendar that we work. We have to work that calendar, and it doesn't move at all, regardless of qualifying or anything like that. But there may be some issues that won't be addressed out on the full floor until after February or until February. But, I think that's few and far between. We do our work.
I got you. So something else that other members of the legislature have discussed, Senator, is the remaining tranche of ARPA money that you guys got to work on allocating as well. That'll have to be addressed.
Yeah. I know that we've had a first round that's gone out of ARPA money for the locals to be able to use for some infrastructure. I think that program works pretty well, and I've heard some concerns about how the grading has been done, but I think that the second iteration, that's why we have multiple iterations, is that we know that we can do some modifications as necessary. I look for us to be able to work with our local entities a little bit better, come up with some better projects, and make sure that we're able to get those projects started and underway and completed in a timely manner.
Gotcha. Well, you guys will be down there pretty soon, that's for sure. And, something else, we got about 30 seconds or so left. Scott, are you guys going to look at any ways to cut spending? Is there anything we can strip out of this $6 billion budget?
Yeah. So, I know that it's not really, it's something that is a little difficult for the public to see, but we do quite a bit of work with our agencies, trying to trim them down as much as possible. And I think what you're going to see, Gerard, that you know this as well as everybody else, is that our government is going to be impacted by this inflation, and the cost of providing goods and services is going to go up. So I don't see that budget number going down, but I don't see us increasing it in an amount that's commensurate with the inflation rate.
Appreciate you coming on, Senator. Thanks a lot. We'll see you down at the Capitol here in a couple of weeks. Merry Christmas to you and yours as well, sir. Take care.
Appreciate it.
We're coming right back here on Midday. Stay with us.